Hey everybody, I'm Jeff Young, and this is Tales from the MASH. Listen, before I tell this story, I just want to say one thing. Kids, don't do this. What I did was stupid. Don't do that. Don't do this at home. Hope the statute of limitations is up on this motherfucker because I'm about to tell it to the world. Today, I'm going to tell a story about my dear friend Sean, aka Uncle Dude, and the time that we took acid at a weird party at a blueberry patch in Cape Cod. I like to name my stories, and I'm going to name this story Melbourne Moon, and you guys will see why later. So this story starts just after high school. I moved to Cape Cod, Massachusetts to live with my buddy Sean on a cranberry bog, and we lived there rent-free and worked on this cranberry bog, and that's a whole nother story in and of itself. But at some point, right after I got there, he's like, hey, there's a party at the blueberry patch, or whatever the fuck that means. So we go to this party, and it's dark when I get there, so it's like, I can't really tell you what a blueberry patch looks like, to be honest with you. But there was a bunch of people there hanging out, drinking, doing bad shit. And somebody was like, hey, you guys want some acid? And being fucking whatever, age 18 and ready to experiment, hell yeah, we wanted some acid. So, and it was weird, it wasn't like a little square, they just like tore a chunk off the sheet. And if I remember correctly, my chunk was like probably that big. And that's a fairly sizable chunk, I think. And we took that, and everything was going fine, except for the mosquitoes started coming out. And that stuff's kicking in, and I'm just like tripping on all these mosquitoes everywhere. But this is like the East Coast, swampy, and there's just gonna be mosquitoes everywhere. So Sean's like, hey man, don't trip out, just go get in the car and chill out in there a while, you'll be safe from the mosquitoes. So I'm in the car, and there's like fucking still mosquitoes in there on me, and I'm thinking like, you're just tripping out, dude. You're just tripping out. All you gotta just pretend they're not there, you know, but it doesn't matter, they're just fucking everywhere. So Sean comes in to check on me, he's like, what's going on, man? I'm like, dude, these fucking mosquitoes everywhere, and he's like, just listen, you're just tripping, dude. I'm like, am I? There's no mosquitoes? And he's like, no. And I'm like, all right, I'm tripping out, just calm down. And he's like, just take a deep breath. He's like, you know what? If there's mosquitoes, just accept them. Just let them land on you. He's like, don't worry about it. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let this go. So I just let them land on me, and they are all over me. And I'm just like, whatever, this isn't happening. And then I think Sean goes out to like, he's like, okay, you calm down, I'm going back out. And he opens the door, and the interior light comes on. And he's like, holy shit, there are mosquitoes all over you, dude. And he starts brushing all the mosquitoes off me. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? I fucking accepted them. And he's like, I'm sorry. If you know Sean, you know this dude doesn't have the greatest vision in the world, so it is forgivable that he didn't really know there was mosquitoes all over. So then it starts raining. We're like, we got to get out of here. That's not even the end of the story. So it's raining. We start driving, and you know, like kids don't try this at home and all of that shit. But we start driving, and I hope the statute of limitations is up on this. But we start driving, and it pours harder than I ever remember seeing it rain in my life. So the rain's coming down, and I'm like, this motherfucker couldn't even see the mosquitoes And he's just driving along, and Mr. fucking Magoo just fucking, and I'm like, dude, you can't, can you see? And he's like, no, bro, I can feel the road right now. And I don't know why, but somehow that was an acceptable answer to me. And I just was like, all right, Sean's got this. We go. It actually was dark because it was so cloudy. So like when the rain broke, it kind of lightened up and the sun was just setting. And, or maybe it was never dark, I don't know. But either way, in my memory, it lightens up. Sean stops at like a fucking IHOP or whatever the equivalent is on the East Coast. And he's like, I gotta take a piss. So he goes in, and I'm just sitting out, God damn it, sitting out in this car for fucking ever. And I'm like, maybe I'm just tripping out again. Like maybe it hasn't been forever, and I'm just sitting here fucking for 5 minutes, but it feels like 5 hours. But after a while, I'm like keeping track of time. Like, no, dude, he's been in there forever. So I go in. I'm like, fuck it. He said he had to go to the bathroom. So I go in. I go in the bathroom. I'm like checking this. I'm like, dude, Sean, looking under the stall. Nothing. I go out. I'm like, where the fuck? And I don't know. I don't know my way around. I don't know where the fuck I'm at. I'm like, well, I guess this is my new home. So I just go sit in the car. And after what seemed like an eternity, all of a sudden he comes walking out like nothing, hops in the car. And I'm like, where the fuck have you been, dude? And he's like, what are you talking about? I just went to the bathroom. I'm like, no, bro, I got out and I looked in the bathroom, dude. He's like, all right, I have a confession to make. And I'm like, what? What the fuck? So he goes, listen, I'm in there going to the bathroom, and I come out, and a cop comes in, and I just panicked. So I went and sat down at the bar and just ordered a cup of coffee. And then the cop came in and sat at the bar, and so I just felt like I had to stay there the whole time. So I'm like, whatever, man, let's get out of here. So it felt like we were there forever. We go, he takes us to the beach. We go to the beach, and we find a playground, and it's so badass. It's like it just rained, the sun's setting, so the sky is just like pink and orange, and I'm on acid, so it seems fucking magnificent. I get on a swing set, I'm swinging into the sunset. It's like the ocean, the sunset, I'm just swinging. It was fucking beautiful. But Sean decides to slip into this weird mood where he's like, all of a sudden he's the sad guy walking down the beach and like really introspective and like we're 18 and he's really examining his life on this planet. Like just a really weird, at the time, I'm like, what are you doing being all sad, bro? This is fucking amazing right now. Look at this. And he's just like, just fucking, I don't know, man. You ever just think about it or what? I don't know what he said. He was, so, and then I remember when we were growing up, I would be staying at his mom's house, and shout out to Debbie. Sean's mom had this album, and it was by Melbourne Moon, and it was just this sad fucking guy like with long hair, and Sean had long hair at the time, and he looked just like the guy, and so I started being like, what are you, Melbourne Moon right now? Walking, and because he knew the reference, and like made fun of him a whole bunch about being Melbourne Moon. He didn't care. He still was fucking sad guy and ruined my whole trip. But whatever. I still had a good time with you living in Cape Cod, Sean, even though we were homeless part of the time, and even though we had to steal some of our food every once in a while to survive. I don't hold it against you one little bit, and I appreciate the adventures. Peace, dude. That's my story. One thing that also happened because of that is that I never got mosquito bite bumps again. If mosquitoes bit me and landed on me and flew away, I never got a bump or itch or anything. I became immune to mosquitoes because of that experience. So, you know, I'm kind of a superhero now.